All right, my friends, you are in for a treat because today we're up here at a place called Bear Lake. Bear Lake is just this massive freshwater lake that is one of the prettiest lakes in the world. There's a lot of boats that have sunk over the years here, and there's a couple that have sunk within the last year or so that were never recovered.
I'm actually driving the biggest machine for once because Dave is gonna fly up. Dave's got to take care of some stuff back at the shop. So we're headed up to like a 2.5 hour drive. I just hope and pray we have everything. That's my biggest worry, is we left something behind, but also we have a cool sunroof. I think it's gonna rain on us. Let's go, Ben. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's gonna rain on us.
All right, my friends, you are in for a treat because today we have got an awesome video for you. You see, we're up here at a place called Bear Lake. It's in northern Utah, right on the Idaho border. Bear Lake is just this massive freshwater lake that is one of the prettiest lakes in the world. It's this insanely cool blue-green color. A lot of people call this place the Caribbean or the Rockies. Our friend Brian Gardner from Atlas Towing, that we recovered the wrecked Razor with a few weeks ago, runs all the towing basically up here in the valley, and he has the contract to be the only salvage company on the lake. There's a lot of boats that have sunk over the years here, and there's a couple that have sunk within the last year or so that were never recovered. Nobody knows about them. We've got a team assembled, including this guy right here, one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Doug Bishop. Doug.
That's right.
Welcome back to Utah.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got Doug in town because Doug is the guy that finds stuff underwater. That's what you're good at.
I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, he's known for it. So you guys know Doug worked with Adventure with Purpose for a long time, and now he's got his own channel going, which is
Doug Bishop and United Search Corps.
That's right.
Channels.
So Doug Bishop, United Search Corps. So we brought Doug out because Doug is going to dive down and hopefully find this, it's a Super Aeronautique, which is like a $250,000, $300,000 wake boat that was just sunk and left there. And we are working with very little information.
Pretty extreme circumstances. Dangerous. We're talking about 6,000 feet elevation, around 120, 130 feet deep. So the risk level is extreme. When you're talking about finding something that we're going to look for, needle in a haystack.
We got a great group of guys out here today. We've got, like I said, Brian from Atlas Towing. We've got our buddy Nathan over here who helped us with the Razor recovery. Just a good, solid group of dudes. And now, one thing you got to keep in mind, and a lot of people don't understand this, is we're at 6,000 feet elevation. Diving, every time you get higher, it gets more difficult. It gets trickier because you're dealing with breathing in a lot of nitrogen. Can you explain to them what happens, why that's so difficult?
Yeah, the atmospheric pressure at 6,000 feet elevation, which is where we're at Bear Lake, changes things drastically. The onset, offset of gassing within the body changes. So I'm going to absorb a lot more nitrogen within my body on this dive than I would typically if I was diving 130 feet at sea level. It's going to be really risky, but we're going to mitigate risk at every turn. There's a science to it, and at this level, it definitely increases for sure.
So Doug is the man. He's very safe. He's been doing this for a long time. By the time he gets down to 100 feet deep, he can only be down there for about 7 or 8 minutes because of how quickly he's consuming the oxygen. And then on his way back up, he's got to take stops to be able to acclimate to the pressure and let the nitrogen settle. This is dangerous. This is not your, go on vacation and go on a dive tour kind of diving. This is very technical. It's dark, it's deep, and it's freezing.
Yeah. Don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home, but you can enjoy from the comfort of your own home watching the craziness that we get up to. So with that said, we're getting ready to splash the old boats, and see you guys on the water in a minute. All right, so you guys see all these tools and all this equipment and all this hardware right here below me? Well, this is all very important stuff that we need to be able to get the job done. Like, this is critical. But believe it or not, this right here is not my most powerful tool. My most powerful tool is right here on my phone. And it also happens to be a sponsor of today's video, Onyx Off-Road. Onyx Off-Road is a mapping tool that is so much more than just a map. This is not your Google Maps. This is not your MapQuest. This is a legit powerful tool that you can download on your phone, and you'll get access to all the off-road trails in your area. It shows you private land, public access. It shows you the elevation, lake levels, water levels, all these different things that you can't find anywhere else. You can actually create waypoints that you can send to a friend, and they can follow you off-road, which is something you really can't do on any other mapping service. And one of my favorite features is the fact that you can just zoom in, tap on a piece of land, and it'll show you the tax records of who owns it. So if you need to access to a private land, boom, there's the information, you contact them. We've used this a number of different times. People get access to land by just contacting the private landowners. So Onyx has something that's called their Elite membership. Now the Elite membership is a really, really big deal. Having the Elite membership, you get access to stuff that nobody else gets. You get the most recent satellite images. So if you're trying to check out an area, see the terrain, see what's going on there, click on it, you've got the most up-to-date satellite images you can get. Another critical feature that the Elite membership has is snow melt and water levels. So if you're trying to check lake levels, you're trying to figure out if there's enough water up in the lake or the river where you're headed to, it's all right here in the palm of your hand. Onyx has all these great industry partners, companies like Warren Winches, Decked, Fox Suspension, all these different companies have partnered with Onyx, and as an Elite member, boom, you've got immediate access to their best deals and best discounts. So not only do you have the most powerful mapping tool in the world, you're never gonna get lost, you're gonna be able to find the private land, you're gonna be able to know what altitude, what the levels of the lakes are at, all these different things that you can't find anywhere else. Plus you're gonna get a deal on off-road equipment. I mean, guys, it's a no-brainer. I'm getting you guys 20% off. All you gotta do is use the promo code HEAVYD20, click the link in my description below, download the app. Guys, I promise you, even if you don't think you're gonna use this, you will. It is hands down the best mapping tool I've ever used. So what I need you to do, click the link in my description below, go download the app, get that Elite membership, get the 20% discount, and go start exploring. So thank you, Onyx, for supporting the video, and more importantly, thank all of you for supporting the channel and supporting companies like Onyx, because that's how this whole program works. We all support each other, and we all end up with some really cool stuff and some awesome services. Click the link, download the app. Cool thing about this mission is we've just got a lot of people that are willing to help and a lot of really nice equipment. We've got the fire rescue boat that Doug and those guys are going to be on. That's got the best sonar system. Doug's used to working, he's a little bit bougie when it comes to his sonar. You got your preference, which in his line of work, you got to have something that is like dialed in. We don't quite have Doug's level equipment here. The Pavati's got sonar on it, which is down only. The fireboat's got side and down. We have a GPS coordinate that's going to take us to the area where somebody at some point marked. Could have been anybody, could have been somebody in law enforcement, could have been a friend or a family member that saw it go down and take a wild guess. So we are literally digging for a needle in a haystack. Doug is very, very good at reading sonar. Stuff that I think are fish or just rocks turned out to be cars. So I've learned to just not second guess Doug and just let him do his thing. I think probably what we'll do is just head out and start scanning. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
So the boat icon at the top in the middle of the screen represents the vessel that we're on. The black columns on either side represent the depth to the bottom. Where the orange lines start, where the orange coloration starts, that's looking at the bottom of this lake. And we're casting 150 feet to the left and 150 feet to the right. Right now it's 15 feet, but where we're going, we expect it to be well over 100 feet.
So now is my least favorite part of the day. It's sit here and wait for the team to scan with the sonar. We do not have sonar on this boat. I need to put it on here. I need to put a big, like a Garmin, like a GPS, sonar, all that stuff. I've been telling you guys a lot lately about my personal projects, right? This is one that it just works so damn well that I've never really done much to it other than the, you know, initial work that we did. But I really need to get this thing set up because it's the ultimate boat. It really does everything perfectly. So if any of you know about diesel performance on the Yanmar marine engines, let me know. These things are already turned up because they're marine engines. I think they're like 470, 480 horse or something like that each. I need to talk to a good jet pump guy, figure out if these pumps need to be either rebuilt, new seals, or if there's anything fine tuning we can do, because these boats were originally designed to run at sea level. Well, we're at 6,000 feet right now, so that changes everything. It gets a little bit tricky, and since I'm not a marine performance expert when it comes to like the fluid dynamics and everything, what I'm saying is if any of you know how to make this boat faster and more powerful, hit me up, info@heavydsparks.com. We got sonar on the Pavati, which is actually really cool. It's a factory standard feature, and then the fire rescue boat has a better down and side view sonar. We're about 130 feet right here, pretty much smack dab in the middle of the lake, and we're just going to run a grid pattern, and they're going to search, and Doug is going to be able to figure out whether he sees it or not, and then we're going to send him down, and hopefully we get him close enough to find it around the first shot. Luckily, this water is very, very clear. It looks, you know, bluish green. That's because it's so clear. Close to the shore, you can see straight down 15, 20 feet down to the bottom, no problem. See the fish swimming around. Crazy how clear this lake is. Beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful. I love it.
We think we have an object. We don't know exactly what it is. It's just the first scan. Anytime we identify a target, we need multiple scans from multiple angles, like I was saying earlier, in order to really determine what it is that we have. Typically, you guys would see me hunting for vehicles, and we use magnets to confirm the targets. What we're working with right now is a fiberglass boat. So we're not going to be able to use a magnet to determine. So it might take a couple of dives. Right there. Boom. I want to say that that's like a 20-foot, 30-foot boulder. Whatever that is massive. That's close to a 40-foot object right there. That's not the boat. There it is again. What the heck is that? See that? I doubt that that's the boat. But it's something. Why is that there? What is that?
Halfway up, there's like a big Nike swoosh looking thing.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. It's like, but that's too big. It's 120 feet deep. It's just buoyant.
Sideways?
But it's not on the ground.
Oh, it's not?
That's in between here and the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
That definitely is a boat. How could it have been there for 3 years? It's not a fish. I mean, there's not a 40-foot fish in here, or we have the Loch Ness monster.
Isn't there supposed to be a bear lake? Isn't there supposed to be a bear lake monster?
There is a bear lake monster. It's right there.
But it's only like 30 feet down. I want to dive that. Let's see what that is. This may be easier than we thought. If that's the boat, I don't know what I want to describe it as, luck or what. It's just meant to be. I'm not going to complain. I mean, diving 130 feet deep at 6,000 feet elevation, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Extremely dangerous. It's not your average dive. So if I don't have to dive that deep, hey.
There it comes.
What is that? It's not their boat. It can't be their boat. It might be their boat. Yeah, that was his boat. I don't know how the hell we were picking that up, but that was definitely his boat. Damn it, I thought we were gonna get really lucky. But why it would show it that deep in the water column, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so what we're running into right now is the fire boat has mediocre sonar and is not getting accurate imaging at 130 feet.
Is the Pavati going to be the same? Do you want to look at it, or is it going to be the same situation?
The Pavati is lacking side imaging, is what we need. Side imaging and down imaging. What he has going on over there is the best head unit out here. We just lack the transducer on it.
Gotcha. So do we need to try to find some better sonar equipment?
I have the best equipment, but it's in Portland.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can find something here local, because with what we've got right now, are you saying that there's no chance of seeing anything?
I'm gonna try to scan as much as I can just to make sure. Right now, I'm just giving to you like what I've been able to come up with so far. I'm gonna give it a really good go before we do that. But in the meantime, if we can maybe find a marine shop in the region that may have that transducer, we can throw it on the Pavati and find it on the Pavati.
Okay, let me, we'll do some digging and see. It's just a side scan transducer for the Garmin unit. Yeah, I'll send you a link to it right now.
We're having issues with the sonar equipment. The sonar equipment that we have on all of these boats is kind of more of a basic setup, and Doug needs something that's got the ability to do side scan and then has the big screen. So the Pavati has a really nice head unit with the screen that shows great detail. The problem is it only has the transducer that looks down. And we need one that looks to the sides, because that's how Doug is able to see if there's like a shadow, like if the boat's casting a shadow somewhere on the bottom of the lake. Unfortunately, all of his sonar equipment is up in Portland right now. So we're basically calling around to every fishing shop, every boat shop in the state to see if anybody has that transducer attachment that we need, because without it, we're kind of dead in the water. See, nothing? No? Okay. All right, well. Now we found, oddly enough, Nathan was calling around trying to find somebody in the state of Utah that had the specific transducer that we needed for the sonar system. It turns out the only place that has something even remotely close to what we need, which might be exactly what we need, is literally a tiny little boat shop right down the road here. So now we're at Ace Hardware getting ready to build a makeshift mount for this transducer assembly. Got a couple of different options. Alan's got an idea, I got an idea. We're gonna build something to plug this into so we can hang it over the side of the boat, put it in the water. Biggest thing is that it has to stay stationary and it can't rock at an angle. So whatever we build has to basically point straight down and stay rigid. So my thought was to get a piece of heavy wall pipe, put a cap on it, put this through the cap, and then put a 90 in it and have that hang over the side of the boat. That's our guy there. And we just run a 90. That will span the width of the boat. This will go over the side.
Okay.
Put that in the water. 90. We'll hold that. Yeah, it's gonna be slick.
Just like slide it to the side. Wow.
Take your cheese. Oh, That's an awkward situation right there.
Especially when you're in that awkward situation.
So the vessels that are here lack the power of sonar needed to work in the depths that we're working. We tried to outfit the Pavati because the Pavati has the better brain. It's got the Garmin XSV 76 series. It just lacks the transducer for side image. We called a local shop. The local shop said that they had a transducer that could produce side imaging that would be compatible with the unit that's on the Pavati. However, after Sparks spending a couple of hours trying to get it to work, we realized that this transducer is not what it was supposed to be.
Now there's things saying that there's nothing that says that it's sonar. It just says the multi-sensor. Great for collision avoidance and for catching more fish, 3D scannings.
So all of the side image transducers and down image transducers typically aren't like this. That is for speed. And there's a temperature gauge, and this down sensor is for depth only, which is what we're getting. Typically they're longer.
This is the DST-810 smart transducer is a self-contained dual frequency active sonar system that combines the performance blah blah blah. So this says it is 0 degree.
And I think they're incorporating sonar into it because it does read depth. Again, where this is a transducer that I'm not familiar with, I've never used, and we're going off of the marine shop's recommendation for the system. They actually looked up this system, said that this could be compatible, so we were hoping that it would work. At this point, it hasn't worked.
I mean, it talks about having a beam width, it talks about having the frequency, the power of 100 watts. We definitely overpaid for it too. Well, guys, today did not go as planned. We thought the sonar equipment that we had available on some of the boats up here was a little bit better. It's all good stuff, but we need like really precise, because we are literally searching for a needle in a haystack in 130 feet deep with some very not so precise pin drops. Like the GPS coordinates that we were given are kind of approximate areas, we believe. And so to be able to search that big of an area with a not so powerful sonar system, not ideal. And the piece that we bought, we're just not sure what the deal is with it. We're not sure if it's gonna plug and play with the Garmin system on the Pavati, whether they're compatible or not. So basically what we're gonna do is call it a day right now. We're gonna go back to the house, regroup, figure out what we need, possibly get somebody up here with a different boat with sonar on it. We'll figure out a solution tonight so that tomorrow, first thing, we can be in the water searching. Overkill. All right, guys, good morning. Day 2, we are back up here at Bear Lake after a good night's rest and after a little bit of a fiasco yesterday trying to go through and get the sonar equipment exactly the way we wanted it. We got a little bit of a change of plans today. There's multiple items in this lake that need to be pulled out. We're calling those targets. So we have this list right here, basically from local law enforcement, of all these different GPS coordinates showing where there could potentially be something underwater. A lot of these have been confirmed and they just marked the area and that's all that's been done. So not a ton of sonar searching has been done that we know of. Maybe law enforcement did it at the time of the incident, but as far as we know, most of these vehicles and items are still where they're at. So basically we're pulling up GPS coordinates right now. We're going to be plotting out kind of a route that we're going to go to search for things, and the first thing that we find that's like 100%, yeah, we feel like it's a target, and then Doug is going to get down in the water and see what it is and then see if we're going to pull it out or move on to the next one. So this went from looking for one boat to now we've got 8 different targets in front of me for day 2. So one way or another we're going to pull something out of that water, right?
That's right. Something's coming out. Something's coming out. It's going to be intense. Stay tuned.
All right, so we're going to plot out this search grid and then we'll be heading to the marina.
So we have coordinates. Well, we have very, very rough coordinates that were given to us, 3 years ago. And then this is like the picture we found online last night Googling. That's it sinking. I guess I could see roughly this point.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
I believe we may have found it. We're gonna go out and get an additional scan from the far side of it just to confirm. But the first scan definitely looks like we found it as of right now.
Okay, perfect. We'll head that way. That's good news. So we're over here at a place called Cisco Beach, searching for one of the targets. It's a thing they call the wreck. We don't have any other information on it other than it's called the wreck. We're on the east side of the lake, and this is all rocky over here. Basically, it goes down to 60, 70 feet here, and then just drops down to 200 feet. So there's a big ledge there. And from what we understand, this wreck is sitting right at the edge of that ledge, just about to drop off into the abyss. So if we can find it and Doug can dive down to it and see what it is, there's potential to pull it out. The state wants obviously anything that's not native to this lake out of the water. So cars, boats, equipment, all that kind of stuff. So really anything that we find is fair game to pull up, except for, I believe there's a place called the Car Lot, where back in the 30s, or forever ago, some guy dumped a bunch of old like 20s, 30s, 40s cars in the water. And they say that he did it for like a fishing habitat to make like a little bit of a natural reef. So those cars won't be pulled out. That's kind of like a popular dive spot and like an attraction for the lake. But other than that, nothing else is supposed to be under the water. So we're gonna go see what that is.
Just then.
All right, so might have been a false alarm. He just radioed in and said that after looking at it a little bit more closely, it might just be a rock formation. So they're gonna keep scanning that area to get better angles of it. The thing about sonar is the way it's looking right now is just kind of looking down at it. Side scan allows you to get like more of a profile shot of it. So we just don't want to waste a dive on something that we don't have a good idea of what it is.
If you were to ask me, like, Hans, what do you personally think a rock pile looks like under the water with sonar? I think it'd look like this. Flat, 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 big bump. Because, like, look at this. Flat, 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 big bump. That to me looks like a rock pile. They claim the cars are next to a rock pile. I would see this being like a rock pile and this being like some cars. I could be completely wrong, and that could be just 2 pieces of earth that God put there. But I don't know.
The legends of Bear Lake are eluding us. They're elusive. They're making me look bad.
Well, my friends, it looks like we're gonna get skunked. No signs of anything underwater right now. None of the pin drops, none of the GPS coordinates that we got from law enforcement have proven to be fruitful. I really hate to do this to you guys, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to call this video, I don't wanna say it's a loss, but it's definitely not a big W for us by any means. I think that's a wrap, which sucks. So I was really looking forward to pulling something out.